Wonder Woman issue 2, George Perez and Greg Potter. The roles being distributed between them. Otherwise, I have to explain it every time. Go back to issue 1 and we explain how it's divvied up. So, yeah, obviously we were really into issue 1 of this Wonder Woman run, and we're curious to see kind of the first proper issue with Diana. And we're still very much in origin story territory, and we kind of joked last issue about how there's no Steve Trevor landing on Themyscira. And I think we even said, maybe issue 2 will start with it. Who knows? And it doesn't quite start with it, but it kind of is there.
I mean, it does start with Steve Trevor. It's the very first thing you see.
It starts with Steve Trevor getting a call from a higher ranking officer who wants to see him. Steve's kind of in a bad place because he's ruffled some feathers by being too noble and not a bloodthirsty military man.
Yep, they're really telling us it's fine. You can like Steve.
Yes. That's the point. Oh, that's it. He's about older than I think we typically think of him here, because he mentions that he was in Nam, but even in 1987, 86, whenever this issue came out, I think it was about 87.
It was 86, late 86.
86. But even in late 86, if he was in Nam, then he's at least in his like late 30s now.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's drawn here, he looks late 40s, early 50s, maybe.
He does. He looks older. So I think that's kind of interesting for a start, because I mean, not that Diana looks like a teenager in this, but she doesn't necessarily feel like she's been drawn to be late 40s.
She looks late 20s, early 30s, maybe.
Yeah. The atmosphere here, though, is wonderful. You know, it's a rainy, stormy night as he's driving up, and they have to go through security, and then he comes out to speak to this general, or whoever it is. And he's given this mission to just like test fly a new jet, and it's not even that new, as Steve points out, but it all feels a bit fishy. And I was thinking, this guy's working for someone, or he's secretly a part. And obviously, it's not even right at the end of the scene. He looks through the blinds and he's like, "Aha, soon the god of war." We'll
yes,
take care of you,
tonight
Trevor.
You shall do the bidding of Ares.
Yeah. So it's very clear. Okay, so he's working for Ares, or maybe he even is Ares in disguise. I mean, he's not, but at this point, I could have believed that.
That's something that we know is possible from Ares from future.
But at the end of the issue, it's clear that that's not the case. But yeah, there was definitely a possibility. So no, I think what was so great about this as well is that all this thunderstorm stuff was so different from anything in the first issue that it was a nice sort of nice range.
I love the way it uses that transition into Themyscira as well, like, because we have the thunderstorm. We see Diana seeing it, and it's wonderfully rendered where the lightning splits across into multiple different panels. The way it arcs through them. It's really interesting.
No, it's really good. And the gods are making her lasso because she didn't have that last issue. This is something that she just gets here. And it's just kind of just doing it out of. He's like, he doesn't care about Diana. He's like, this will piss off Ares, so I'm on board. But
it's Hephaestus that's making it, right?
Is it Hephaestus? Oh, sorry, it's Hephaestus. But he's like, but he's not doing it because he believes in the cause. He's not doing it he's not like some of these other gods who are actually supportive of Diana and see her as the chosen one. He's doing it because this will piss him off, and that's
pretty
it.
much.
That's the only reason why he's doing this. So Hermes comes down and sort of takes her to. In fact, actually, even before that, with the bow and arrow to fire the thing down, the lasso down, I thought was a nice touch as well.
Yeah, he shoots it down and then just comes down anyway. It's like bit dramatic, mate. Although that is Hermes in a nutshell. Yeah,
that wasn't Hermes that shot it down.
No, but Hermes just showing up after.
Oh, sure,
yeah. That's what I meant. I'm assuming that was Artemis that shot it down.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he comes down and it's like, hey, okay, this, and as this is happening, we cut to the Steve Trevor stuff, where they're flying through these stormy clouds and they're getting lost, and it's like, wait, these readings are all off. We're this is saying we're in the same place we were like 2 hours ago. This doesn't make sense. As Diana's been shown the possible destruction that the Ares might bring, and that the time is coming, and she's taken to let me see what the name was here, just to forget, Harmonia, who's in solitude, and basically she's just going to give her a way to find Ares, and she gets given this talisman, this magic. Let's just call it MacGuffin. But it turns out it's half.
Coin, yeah.
It's half a MacGuffin though. There's a second half of it that she needs to get before it'll actually reveal where Ares is. So Ares' location is played as a mystery. But this transitions then into this plane, the jet, crashing down from the sky. The Amazons see it. Diana flies up to take it. It drops a missile. The co-pilot is there and is taken over by Ares, or is working for Ares. It felt like more of a weird sort of possession moment to me, with the way his face changes and all that.
Yeah, I get that feeling as well. Or maybe it was like, if it wasn't like a direct possession and he was just, touched by Ares before, like corrupted when he entered Themyscira's atmosphere almost.
But the art of the so it's like he's got like a skull kind of Evil Dead-esque kind of face, but he's got like his helmet on, and the goggles, like behind the goggles, it's just pure black, but except the eyes. And it's a really cool visual.
It's really creepy. It's interesting because it's really evocative of the DC visual of Ares as well, with the helmet, just with the blackness.
Which I think it's intentional. I think it's supposed to connect it to him.
I do as well, but it's a really neat connection. On top of just looking creepy as shit, as like this guy with like a melted face underneath that.
So he's dropped a missile. Diana doesn't really know what it is, but senses enough danger from it that she, uses a lasso and flings it in the other direction. And of course, they're all shocked. If I do have a minor complaint here, and I don't have a lot to complain about because this issue is fantastic. I do think that stands up with the first one. I might even like it more because it does get to more kind of present day stuff with a bit more of a natural setting. But I do think the page where she does lasso the missile and throws it away, there's kind of a weird sequencing to this where my eyes went horizontal because that's just what it feels like it should be, but it's actually you're meant to go vertical.
I think it would be really easy to fix this as well. I don't know exactly how, because it has a middle insert strip.
Yes.
If you just put that strip as fully vertical, and stretched it all the way up, I think it would be a lot clearer, because the panels in that are offset, right? So the ones on the outside are split into, it's 2 panels on each side, and the one in the middle is split into 3, so they're offset with the sides. If that had stretched all the way up to the top and bottom of the page in line with the other panels, you'd still have this offset one in the middle, and you'd know to read down rather than across, because when you try and read across, you're like, well, where does the middle one fit in? So the fact that it's just an insert makes you feel like you can go across with it, and that's where the problem comes in, I think.
Yeah. But the explosion happens in the sky as the plane lands in the water. It's a really neat touch, actually. There's a full big panel of the explosion in the sky, which is all it really is. But there's a little insert panel in the middle of the explosion in the water as the plane's hitting the water.
Yeah.
And it's really neat because it effectively gives you the impression they're happening simultaneously. And
it gives you a sense of scale as well, of the size of how big this insert panel is compared to the blast overall. It's really effective.
But the Amazons have never seen anything like this, right? Because they have no idea how weaponry's advanced since they were last.
They were amazed by a handgun last issue.
Yeah, but they're part of the not a part of the world, so the idea of these explosives is like baffling to them. But one of the sea, not gods, but what is it? Let me just get the name here. Not Poseidon, Themis, the deity of seas. Basically tells
it is a god.
Oh, is a god? Okay. I think one of the Amazons claims that it's not, but I guess it was just more of a shade thing than an actual fact.
Yeah, it's Greek mythology is interesting. I mean, technically, it might not be a god; it might be more of a titan, but immortal being on the same scale as the others. Yes, just not as strong a position as Poseidon, perhaps.
Yeah, but this Themis tells Diana to save Steve, that he's worth saving. And of course, from their perspective, this plane dropped a bomb, and he was on the plane. They don't know the context that he was actually, because we see him fighting the other pilot. He's trying to stop him from doing what he was doing. But and actually, as this is happening, we cut back to the general or whoever he was that gave him these orders, and it's Etta who we didn't even mention she was in the car with Steve earlier. But she's with these others who come to check on see what's going on. And when they open the door to this guy's office, you don't get a full sense of it, but you just see a lot of red, and you see a skull, and it's like something just like ripped through the office and eviscerated him.
It's like the same thing that was happening to the other pilot, where he melted. It's like because we saw the face melting. It's kind of like that had happened here, but it had got further, maybe because that's he's got no skin left on. It's just bones.
I actually didn't get the impression it was the same thing. You may be right. The reason why I didn't know is I got the impression the characters we get at the end of the issue did this, which wouldn't line up with the pilot, which is why I never connected those two. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But so they care for Steve a little bit, but he's kind of just out of it. Is it Hera that shows up here? Or it's Athena, sorry. Athena shows up, and she just casually says, "This is the first time you've seen me in 3,000 years." Like 3,000. And points out that, the rest of the world stopped kind of believing in all these gods. The Amazons single-handedly are kind of keeping the dream alive. And the power we have is basically because of you lot. It's time for Diana to go on her mission. And it's kind of a sad moment. Hippolyta's crying, Diana's crying, and it's Hermes actually transports them off. Diana's actually carrying Steve in her arms as they fly off.
I love that visual of them traveling through Hermes' kind of own space that he has, because it's not just the sky. No. It's like he's using his staff to kind of cut through all the cloud. It looks great.
Yeah. So you got all that, and then this is kind of the end of the book where the ETA and the other soldiers in the military are questioning what's going on, what could have possibly done this, and also where's Steve? Like, Steve is missing, that the planes is vanished, and they can't find him, and ETA is worried about Steve. And we get kind of the idea that some characters are watching them through a magical portal. And then the final page of the book, and this is a normal sized issue, this was 22 pages, it's not the 30 from last time. And we get Phobos and Deimos are the ones watching, and they're going to come after Diana. They're doing Era's bidding, so that's your cliffhanger. And notably, this is the first time we really get to see some proper villains in the book. So, and they are very over the top in the design.
They are, yes.
So Deimos is got the snake heads and all that coming out. He's got all the green. As well as
very goblin-y, I want to say. Like, he's bigger, but he's kind of got that proportion.
He's got the big sort of like, not shoulder pads, but the big kind of like shoulder dressing that's just got like a cape coming down from it. It's very it's like gladiatorial, but he's really bulky and orky, but he does have big kind of like almost elf-like ears. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's why I said goblin-y. I think I feel like goblins often have those sorts of ears.
Yeah, it's a good cliffhanger though. It was one of those things where I got to this page and I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is the last page. This feels like a nice little tease.
Right, and I assume that these are the ones that we know that they were in control of the general and the co-pilot, but we know also that the general at least thought he was working for Ares. So are these actually working for Ares and it's on his behalf, or did they mislead him? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for all I know though, maybe he was working for Ares and now they're just sort of being middlemen on Ares' behalf. It's not that it's not that the general was ever tricked per se. It was just that they're the one that are doing all the middle management.
Right, that's what I meant. I want to say, are they working for Ares as well? So this chain of command essentially.
My instinct was that they were, but I mean,
they're pretty minor gods. They probably would answer to Ares, one of the big ones, but also, they're making a point of going, oh, our plan is our cause, and I wonder how much do they think they're doing it for themselves. I don't know.
They feel like Bebop and Rocksteady to Ares' Shredder.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the feeling I'm getting so far.
Yeah.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
A good comparison.
Great names. Bebop and Rocksteady. Great. I really like this issue. I think it was a solid introduction to Steve, because, we get the idea that he's good and he's noble, and he will question people who are just like bloodthirsty and want to, and it makes sense that this general, he would want to work for Ares because he clearly believes in war and is very passionate about war. So why wouldn't he worship the god of war? That just makes sense. So all that stuff's good. I think the atmosphere and the art is great. All the thunderstorm stuff, and then the whole sequence of the panel ordering in that one page notwithstanding, the whole sequence of the bomb and the plane landing. It felt like it. I mean, it feels different. Again, it feels different to every other version I've seen of this origin, where I'm so used to Steve waking up on the island and like discovering it a little bit and learning about it before they have to leave, and so there's still differences to what I've seen from other sources.
It's clear that this got expanded upon later, essentially.
Yeah. But no, I'm having fun discovering what this version of all these events were, and I think it's doing a good job. I think it's doing a good job building. It feels like an ongoing story as opposed to just, we had to do an issue that was an origin and now this. Like this, despite the fact that the first issue did feel almost very standalone in the sense that it was dealing almost entirely pre-Diana, this still felt like a natural follow-up where, no, this is still just chapter 2, despite the fact that the first one was all mostly pre-her.
It's still clearly part of the same story, yeah.
So, very good. What are you giving Wonder Woman issue 2?
I'm going to give it an 8.5. It probably would have been a 9, barring that one page where the flow kind of threw me.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'll probably concur with that and give it the 8.5 as well. I think it's really solid.